Welcome to this week's edition of Mountain Outhouse. I'm your host, Jam Jam. This is the craziest to happen in running this week. This week's stories include a Bandera 100K preview, who was inducted into the Ultrarunning Hall of Fame, and the uncertain future of the UR Madness tournament. The annual Run Across the Years is still wrapping up at the time of this filming, with about 12 hours remaining in this Arizona-based multi-day run fest. The event has already seen several records and a fair bit of drama unfold in the 6-day event, with some big names dropping out midway through. Let's take a look first at the 24-hour, which saw Adele Assault take the overall win with 129.1 miles, and way ahead of second place finisher Florian Natero, who finished with 116.5 miles. 14 runners in total cracked the 100-mile barrier en route. Moving up to the 48-hour, Air Running's own John Marashek crushed it with a 300-kilometer win. Yeah, that's 186 miles, folks. He bested 70-year-old Jeff Hagan, who ran over 170 miles himself for a brand spanking new 70-plus American record. Our top lady this year was Deneen Huntley with 153 miles, 5 ahead of second place Jill Hudson. The 72-hour, aka the 3-day, was also won outright by a woman, Amy Maurer, who crushed through 220 miles, beating first place guy Scott Thompson by 8 miles. Then we have the legendary 6-day. Of course, the 6-day dates back to the golden era of ultrarunning in the 1800s, where pedestrianism ruled the entertainment and sports betting worlds. Competitors often made the rounds on short tracks, many times indoors, to rack up as many miles as possible in that fixed amount of time. Canadian Dave Proctor set a couple of records en route to building a huge lead early in the 6-day. He ran over 223 miles in 48 hours to break the Canadian record, and went on through 72 hours with 309.6 to break a national record set all the way back in 1881. It was a short-lived celebration because by day 4, he was out with a knee injury, dashing his hopes of a new 6-day record. This paved the way for Ed Eddinghausen, the jester, to all but lock up the win in the 6-day with just a few hours remaining. He currently has over 420 miles and will earn his 3,000-mile lifetime jacket as long as he completes just 19 more. For the ladies, last year's winner Liz Bauer pulled out early on day 2, and last year's runner-up Yolanda Holder also pulled the plug on day 3. Currently, Annabelle Hepworth is in the lead with 367 miles, but well ahead of second place and 73-year-old Ed Bauer with 309. Martina Hausman currently is in third and also just earned her 4,000-mile jacket. As we head into 2018, we're kicking things off quick with the first golden ticket race of the new year. A slew of guys and gals aren't wasting time getting after their goals. Let's run down the top contenders for the Bandera 100K, which also serves as the USATF National Championship. Don't forget that the top 2 men and women will earn auto qualifiers for the 2018 Western States 100. Bob Shebist and Mario Mendoza are both returning with a bit of a chip on their shoulder after being directed off course last year while mid-race, while in the lead, eventually forcing them to drop. Giving them a run for their money this year will be Coconino Cowboy, Cody Reed, Chris Mocco of the Mocco Show, Jim Rebneck, who won last year's Run Rabbit Run 100, and several others. On the ladies' side, Anime Flynn has to be one of the favorites, who will be going up against Camille Herron, also looking for a slot at Western States. Michelle Yates, who was podiumed at Bandera back in 2016, as well as Danny Filippic, first at Cayuga Trails 50, also are towing the line. Many sponsored athletes and companies are using January 1st to announce their new loyalties. I'm sure many of you saw the Ultra Team Red announcements, but Ultra also nabbed another high-profile lady, with Casey Lichtide choosing to sign with the Zero Drop brand. She's officially left Team Nike Trail, who did announce a couple of replacements with the likes of Matt Daniels and Brittany Peterson to stock up their stables. A new story just dropped about a 101-year-old Indian woman, Man Kaur, who won the 100-meter dash in the 100-plus age category at the World Master Games earlier in 2017. She can run the 100 in about 70 seconds. Pretty freaking incredible. Runners are taking to Twitter to learn what happened to Ultrarunning Magazine's annual UROI rankings. In years past, they did a 10-day countdown leading up to January 1st, but this year it was absent. What gives? Well, turns out UR Mag decided to wait until the actual end of 2017 before collecting ballots, from Ultrarunner of the Year voters to be sure that all events were considered for the whole entire year. So don't shed a tear, and instead tune in January 8th for the official countdown. The 2017 inductee to the American Ultrarunning Hall of Fame is Nick Marshall. Let's take a little peek into his career and find out why this guy is an absolute f***ing legend. First off, he was a legit ultra competitor himself. In his peak career in the 70s and 80s, he achieved number 2 all-time at 100K for the US and number 6 in the 24-hour. He also won an ultramarathon in each decade from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But that's not all, folks. Nick Marshall did some of the early work of cataloging and tracking ultramarathon race results and statistics. Yes, there was a time before Ultra Signup, and even a time before Ultrarunning magazine when just a few ultras existed in the US, with scantly 1,000 race results annually. Nick collected these results and published an annual catalog of names and times called US Ultra Distance Summary, starting in the mid-70s. This was the precursor to the launch of Ultrarunning magazine, which was first published in May of 1981. Hard Rock 100 reported that Bill Duper continues his recovery and should leave the hospital in Denver within a couple weeks. Duper, of course, is a mega ultra fan and suffered a stroke recently. Bill, all the best from the Outhouse Nation. Blow Up Arch took to Twitter this week to announce its retirement as commissioner of the annual UR Madness tournament. If you haven't been tuning in, each March we all come together on the Twitter to see our favorite ultra runners battle it out for a shot at the Sweet 16, the Final Four, and eventually crowning a national champ. The tournament has been passed around between anonymous Twitter handles a couple of times, and it seems it is Mountain Outpost's turn. Blow Up Arch is officially deflating and offered us up the reins. Let us know. You want to see us continue UR Madness in 2018, or should we let the damn thing die? Jim Walmsley has been awfully quiet in the running department the past 6 weeks, not logging a single run on Strava, but instead throwing down some serious time on the bike. We aren't sure exactly what he's going through, but us here at Mountain Outhouse want to wish you the best, Jimbo. We're launching a new segment here on the show where we read viewers' comments. For your chance to be featured on the show, drop down below this newscast and type away. We don't really have a name for this segment. From last week's show, our first comes from Ben Zuhldorf, who writes, "Loved it. Thanks, Jamil. One suggested pronunciation correction I keep hearing you mispronounce. It's Francois Den. Den. Yep, you heard it, folks. Our sincerest apologies." Next up is Edward Raybold, who wrote, "I don't know if it was planned or not, but parts of the Santa jacket must match your green screen." Astute observation, my friend. In fact, the presents on the jacket were green as well, producing a literal nightmare for our editor, Michael Carson. Sorry, brah. Finally, Duke Hong in regards to UD's FKT of the Year story. Killian's FKT of Everest isn't even on the list? Well, Duke, we'd have to run it by UD, but it appears the list is just for North American performances. Well, that about wraps it up, folks. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. If you have crazy stories to share or a question or feedback for the show, leave a comment below. Be sure to subscribe, and have a week.